Hello there, this is Cookies. I have turned 25. It's my current turn, and I've been, I think, recording for like 2 hours. So let's see if we can get through this. This turn, I'm trying to forge a little bit of a thug kit. It's probably not worth the mage turns that I'm doing here, but I don't know, like, Nabal's got some cool thug chassis, so I kind of want to try and use them. So we're making a Ring of Frost, some Bracers of Protection, and another Alquill. And I think up here we're doing an Axe of Sharpness to cut through the protection. We've finished our Giant Palisades. We're starting a Giant Fortress here. We'll dig into some of the battles in just a hot second. We're continuing to move up Mukarib. We've started Mukarib production in our new fort as well, so none of that has stopped. We did turn off some of the Adite production, and that was to get the Giant Fortress going, I think. So more infrastructure bills coming due. And it was to do that while still recruiting mages everywhere, because now I've got this new lab over here I can recruit from as well. We've also finished Thaumaturgy 5, so we've got Soul Slay. So let's go ahead and check this out. So I think this guy is staying here to pick up that kit and take it to our guy, because I want to put the kit on this guy, our hero, so I don't pay upkeep for him. He's just a multi-hero Nabal gets. And before I forget, let's go ahead and go through the battles. So we did find a Wolf Oak, so we have some nature income now, which is great. Let's go through the... Almost everything is related to Jotunheim this turn. So let's see our raid in Endless Plain. So looks like we're getting a little bit more PD now, but it's still just militia. And these guys have decent defense. So the longbowmen managed to kill one of them though. But then we get the good old HP route, and we've lost a couple of our dudes. 4 of them, in fact, so that was fairly reasonable attrition, but it was also 30 dudes guarding the province. In Glyph, we have a small band of swordsmen and Emerald Knights, and they're going after these horse tribe. So Emerald Knights are really good, even when they're unblessed. Just going into a lot of PD though. They eventually work their way through it. Loses 3 swordsmen, 1 lion tribe. Pretty good for taking out 24 horse tribe. We see a little life from Jotunheim. They counter raid Gulf. They bring a whole band of sacreds. So this would certainly kill a group of camels that I brought in. No contest. Let's see. We get to see the blessing now, and the incarnate magic weapons bless that I've heard about from Pyrene is online. In Osiri, we go ahead and knock off, we're attempting to knock off the fort PD. So we've got 2 bands of camels, 2 bands of sacreds. And not the strongest amount of fort PD. There's definitely some. I think you get fewer giants per point of PD, so maybe this is like 15 PD, 16 PD, I don't know. Unfortunately, these guys are on attack rear, so some of the camels get caught. So they're probably going to get slaughtered. Oh gosh, what are we doing? So we ride all the way around them, and now we're coming back and shooting arrows at them. This is interesting. Alright. We've got the Jotun Bondi, or kind of like the militia of Jotunheim. Got them surrounded. The commander is fleeing. Brave Jalp. And so we're going to go ahead and finish this off. So we do take the Fort PD. We lose 2 camel riders, I guess. And then I guess 2 of them go back somewhere where they lose their mounts. Considering I foreign recruit a lot of them, I'm not sure if I get the cheaper option to re-recruit them. That might be only forts, so they might be effectively dead. And then in Northia, to wrap up this conflict, we have another small group of Pyrenian Knights, Emerald Knights, coming in against some Barbs. But these ones got blessed. So we can see how spooky they are when they've got 21 defense, unsurroundable 2, they have resistances, they have blood surge, decent strength, decent attack skill. Pretty spooky. Alright. And then over here we've got, say, so that was Pythium. Oh, and then I guess we've got Pythium, where he just kind of pings the 1 PD with some Blackhawks, but gets routed. So kind of cheeky. Just checking if Grippa... Well, I guess you get the automatic 1 PD, maybe? Well, that's only when you take a province, so maybe... I forget. Maybe he got the automatic 1 PD, but maybe checking to see if he'd forgotten. I think it would apply to forts, too. I'm not sure. Alright, but kind of cheeky little raid. Just seeing what's there. We get a whole bunch more unrest, more bad events despite our luck scales. We get more misfortune. And then the walls are lightly damaged, so that's interesting. Alright, so let's take a look at this conflict. Alright, so we are moving back to defend. If somehow he counter raids Wyndham, we're just going to go ahead and defend here and hide the presence of our army a bit. We're going to send a number of... Most of our camels are going to reconvene in Polmania, which is defended by the Trogs. And we'll be able to redistribute our raiding groups. Gonna standardize them back out and head back out. Pyrenees definitely sending forth their raiding groups to claim this territory. Our split is roughly, I think, something like this. So Pyrenees done most of the fighting. They want the capital. I'm not willing to fight their Sacred Knights over it. So seems fair to me. And so, but he is giving himself 3 forts to siege down in the process. He'll pick up Endless Plain at some point, I guess. But for the moment, I'm going to try and trace income from it, especially if they retake Osiri. So this guy's just going to stay and hide. It's 97 more gold. Why not? The army is moving forward. We've filled out our Soul Slay scripts. We've got our 4 communion slaves. These will burn out, even in a fairly short fight. So I need to be somewhat careful about how I utilize this army. Make sure it's mostly fighting sacreds. And make sure my own infantry are doing as much as possible to pitch in, including my camels. All right, so yeah, looks like we've got 24, 31, 40, maybe 43 camels meeting up here in Polmania. Also, recruiting more mages, getting more Mukarib. I think we covered that portion. We see the Abyssian army moving around. It looks like Bander's moved over here to block Agartha again. A little unfortunate for him that he's just having to move back and forth to keep the caves pinned in. We see Fascia has freed up their fort, so they have 120 units in their Titan. So working together with Man a bit there. Maybe what I'm thinking he might do is he might leave this with Man, keep marching this way back towards his capital. And then Man might go back around the other way through New Coast. But I'm not sure. I don't have super great scouting. Actually, I can maybe do that. Yeah, we'll check it that way. All right. And I think that's most of it. Yeah, we talked about how we're forging that kit. Oh, I guess we can talk about research. So we finally finished Thom 5. So now we're moving up Conjuration. And Conjuration gives us a few things. It gives us Phoenix power, Summon Earth power, Call of the Winds for Siege Chaff on the fort. If we ever get to populate that cave, we get these cave crabs. That could be fun. We get Call of the Wild. Oh no, we don't have Nature 4. What am I talking about? Um, maybe these guys. This could be fun. But the main thing is at Conjuration 4 we get our Gen, which is a way to summon additional mages. And I don't believe they'll have upkeep, but I'll have to see it when I try it. I could look it up in the inspector. The inspector still has some bugs though, so I'd probably want to test it. And I'm probably going to get Gen regardless, so I'm not sure if I care to test it. Nest of Salamanders is pretty good as well for a combat spell. There's Storm Drakes if we need the additional help against Jotunheim. We can also dip into Water Kobolds. We might have this cross path. We could potentially empower to get it. Either a Glamour Mage like I think my Pretender might have some water. Let me see. Yeah, my Pretender has some water, so we could empower my Pretender and Glamour and dip into that, start getting the kobolds. Yeah. I'm not sure. There might be a summon that has that cross path, like the Merid for me, but I haven't looked into it too much. So yeah, running down to Conjuration 4, mostly for the Gen and summon Phoenix power and summon Earth power. Then we're looking to finish out Evo 5. Evo 5 comes with Orb Lightning, Falling Fires, Hidden Flame, even Fires from Afar. It got buffed, so it's 20 armor piercing damage now for 20 effects. So it's significantly more powerful now. We get, it opens up our Earthquake trap with our Pretender. And we get the potential to use Illusory Self, and we can project Self even as well, which is also nice. So we get a whole bunch from Evo 5, and we get even more from Evo 6, but we're going to hold off on that just for a little bit. Then we're going to run down to Construction 5. This is for Sanguine Dowsing Rods. I'm also hoping the Cauldron of Elven Halls is down there, but maybe I should double check that. Now there's a new hotkey where it's view all items, so Control A. All right, so let's see if there's a glamour item. Veil Army. Now, if I remember right, I had a misconception in Dominions 5 where it only veiled the troops on the mage, because that's typically how it treats army things in the game. Like if you want to do gateway, stuff like that. But I learned later that it just picks 25 random units in the province to hide, I guess. So I will test it, but if I can use, I think, a nature, one of my Malakas, if I get the nature random, I could make this Gossamer Cloth, and maybe I could start my blood hunting with the Sanguine Dowsing Rods and using the Indies. So these Indies over here, these Garnet, the Garnet Sorceresses, I could start recruiting them, giving them Dowsing Rods. and blood hunting without people seeing necessarily what's there. Especially if I just run low levels of unrest in my provinces with a low number of patrollers. So maybe like one hunter per province. That'd be a lot of Gossamer Claws, but I'm sure I can come up with something. And I do have the nature random, so I can forge that. I can forge that now, actually. Ooh. Alright, so maybe I need to test before this turn rolls. That is interesting. Okay. But what I was really thinking of was the Cauldron of Elven Halls, at least from Dom 5, which maybe it's changed, but maybe it's not. It is now a 15 glamour item rather than 15 air gems. But it has a Veil army of 75. Not be transported, but okay, so it's too heavy to teleport. But yeah, you get 75 units smaller, so that would actually be able to hide a patrolling force as well. So there's definitely some interest there. And I wonder if that's what Kidson was hoping to do with all those glamour gems we sent him. It could be trying to get a bunch of water, like empower one of these guys to get the water kobolds, or you might just have the cross paths. But he could also be trying to hide stuff. So might have to be a little bit careful of that. But we still have some okay glamour income. So I'll have to test that when I get off of this. And then, but yeah, that's kind of why I'm building this fort here. I'd like to start kicking that online, so that's why we're dropping down to construction 5. Then we're going to make a move for alteration 5. We get a lot from that too. We get mist form. We do have some earth mages, so a little bit of temper flesh, potentially destruction, and twilight, which could be fun. So lowers precision, but gives more glamour skill. So pretty cool. And then, so after dropping down there for Alt 5, and Alt 6 would be pretty nice at some point too, because with Alt 6 you get Group Stone Skin, which I can cast easier. You also get like a weird AoE 1 Iron Skin. But we're not ready for that just yet. And then after Alt 5, we'll start dropping into Blood Magic. Because I'm starting to build up the Blood Slaves, and Nabah gets a lot of cool blood summons. So if I run down to like Blood 5 or Blood 6, I could start getting Gula, I could start getting Shaitan, and now I'm a Blood Power, and not as big of a blood power as, say, Pyrene, but I think it would be unexpected because I don't have natural blood hunters or recruitable blood hunters on Nabah. So if I built a sort of stealthy blood economy, that would be a fun surprise to put on people. Especially if I start having Shaitan put online. I think that would catch some people off guard. So, all right. So I think that's it for this one. I'm going to go run that test. If that test works out how I expect it to, then I'm going to go ahead and forge a gossamer cloth to go ahead and potentially get that running. Because I think that was, yeah, nature and glamour. So, and I'll put that in King's Tomb, and I think I'll start recruiting the sorceresses. So, hopefully that explains everything, and I'll see you in turn 26 when the turn rolls. Have a good one.